There are many spokes in the generational cycle of pain, many things that can lead to actions that end up projecting pain on others, whether consciously or unconsciously. We hear about greed, we hear about dominion, we hear about racism, prejudice, so many things that are going on in this world. Um, and one of the things that is central to what can happen when we feel that others have projected their pain on us is the loss of our voice, feeling that we do have a voice, feeling that our words matter, our feelings matter, our concerns matter, our no means no, and our yes means yes. And if we are unsure about something, how we hope that uncertainty can actually resonate in the other person's heart, in their mind, where truth lies. And I know that often we can feel that we don't have a voice, that whether it's neglect, abuse, or like I said, any other pain, bullying, when you tell someone to stop and they just keep on doing it, they keep on projecting their pain on others. And so when we look at the voice, we look at, this is one way that we express ourselves. We express ourselves by through our voice, whether it's through often through expressing the gifts that we have. Even though we do work with our hands, just being able to describe our dance, our music, the play that we put on, the play that we wrote, being able to describe the drawing that we did, having feeling confident in ourselves and feeling like our words do in fact matter. Many of us grew up in a time where children should be seen and not heard. And during those moments, many children were went through things, abuse, neglect, and felt like, I'm just supposed to be seen and not heard. So it's this automatic um, kind of lockdown on our voice. And I remember my mother just recently, I had just made it over her house and she was saying something and I inadvertently, started talking. I kind of cut her off and she said, you should hear my voice, hear me speak, basically. Don't make me feel like I don't have a voice. And I know there are millions of people around this world that feel like that their voice does not matter. Someone has either told them or gave them the look when they decided to speak or hit them or whatever it may be, whether children young or old, where they were told to shh, don't say anything. Your words don't matter. Just shut up and do as I tell you to do. And, I should say that when I do these podcasts on the generational cycle of pain or healing from the inside out, that they may be triggering for you to remember stuff. But the biggest thing I want you to get out of this is that sometimes we have to go through that darkness in order to come out on the other side in light. Sometimes we have to travel through why am I in this situation now? Why don't I speak up for myself? Why don't I tell the waitress that my food is undercooked or it's not done? Or there's something in my salad, other than trying to get, a free meal. Why can I tell the teacher that what she said was disrespectful? Why can I do that in a respectful way? Pull her aside and say, hey, what you said that really I felt that was hurtful, or I felt that it was disrespectful towards me. Why can't parents talk to um, principals and school administrators and say, hey, I really didn't know the procedure for picking up my child. And I really didn't appreciate you yelling at me, screaming at me, because I didn't know. This is our first year here. why can't we tell our husband that, what you said, I felt hurtful by those words that you said. Because that's one thing that I've said, is that there is a way to talk to someone. And many people believe, well, that's belittling my voice, or, I don't have to be nice, or any, I don't have to shy away from the truth. It's not about shying away from the truth. There's a way to say our message in such a way that it builds people, it opens up the door for truth, instead of closing the door and getting defensive and offensive. And I know we're not responsible for how people respond to us, but we are responsible for the words that we speak and how we say them. Putting ourselves on the other side and say, how would I feel if someone said that to me? You know, would I get defensive? Would I think that they're belittling me? How would I feel? And I believe that we have access to this truth that knows the right words to say, and how to say it, and when to say it, and when to speak and when not to speak. And it's all about coming back to that our voice matters. And beyond the voice, our opinions, our feelings, our concerns, those matter. And it's not just a time for us to speak up, but to ask ourselves, why did that hurt so much? Why did that, cause me to cry, or to get upset, or to feel like, that I'm smaller than this other person? Because I believe our experiences are more about ourselves than they are about the other person. That when we say, okay, I experienced that, what am I supposed to get from that? What am I supposed to learn from that? And it could be finding your voice again and speaking up. I when my experiences with pain, I felt like when the secret was out, I was like, oh my gosh, I have a voice. And I used that voice when the person came to me again to try to project, his pain on me. And I spoke up, and I really realized, oh my goodness, I have a voice. And anytime I would see someone, doing something, whether it was in the library as a shelver, as a book shelver, library shelver, or whether it was, at my JTPA job, I felt like I needed to speak when people couldn't speak for themselves. When a kid was pushing another child, and oh, that must hurt, and not in a way to demean the other person, but to enlighten them, to call forth that compassion that resides in them, that love, that kindness, those virtues that we already have access to pull that out of them. Because it's not about shaming or blaming others. And when we feel that we're doing that, we have to look inside and say, why did I say that? Why did I say it that way? Why did I, say it in a way that may have caused shame or even blaming? And look within ourselves and address those unhealed wounds, because our wounds speak. They speak when we are going through this life. They howl. They speak out of fear, and they speak out of anger, and resentment and vengeance. If we're not careful with that. And so, yes, we still have our voice, and we deserve to speak. We deserve to, share our concerns, but we also too deserve to go within and to address those inner wounds that we have. Anything that told us that our voice doesn't matter. Because the more that we open up to our experiences, the more that we are willing to learn from them, and we're willing to seek, truth, and express that, the more we become ourselves, the more that we can, the power that underlies in creating that generational cycle of pain, because we're no longer concerned about the past. It does not direct us, when we stay focused on the truths that are within us, when we stay focused on enlightening and reminding people of who they are. And it's not about just, just flat out just teaching, hey, you shouldn't do that, you should do, because again, if we're using shouldn't and we're so upset with ourselves, then that tells us that we have not yet healed from our wounds, and that we are still continuing the cycle of pain when we use the should and the could and the blamings and the shaming and the vengeance and you should be ashamed of yourself. There's more to those words that we need to seek clarity on. And I think, ways that we can, and we can speak, we can use our voice, we can use our voice um, in a way that again enlightens others, that we cause more of a spiritual awakening to them, and love opens up in their heart. It grows as a seed, as a beautiful flower that it grows through watering it. And I believe we do that by, embracing that we do have a voice, whether we speak it, whether we do sign language, whether we, mouth it with our lips, we have a voice. And a voice isn't just, vocal, but it's the voice, the nonverbal speaking that we do, that, you know, how we express ourselves, but embracing that we have a powerful way to communicate is one thing. The other thing is acknowledging, first of all, acknowledging that we have a voice and then we embrace it. So acknowledging that we have a right to speak up for ourselves and also to for others when we feel the need to do so. So the acknowledgement, embracing our voice, I think also to discerning when to speak. And that's when we go within and we seek that knowledge, that wisdom that again we have access to, that tells us when to speak, what to speak, how to speak, where to speak, all of that. And then we also too just continue to seek the truth in everything we do, that we align, we as we seek the truth, we continue to align ourselves with this higher spirit that created all things, right? The spirit of love, infinite intelligence, God, whoever you may call it. And remember, it's not about what you call it, but it's about what you believe in. Do you believe in good? Do you believe in enlightenment? Do you believe in spiritual awakening? Do you believe in love? Or do you believe in fear and hatred and divisiveness? All of those like minded feelings and emotions that can be life draining and that can continue to take us further away from our truth. So, acknowledging that you have the right to speak, acknowledging that you have a voice, acknowledging that you have the right to communicate your concerns and your feelings, and seeking that inner wisdom that knows all, is in everything, and realizes that every experience that we have is an opportunity to draw us closer to our truth, and to continue to discern when to speak and when not to speak, and to just embrace our opportunities, our experiences as we go along this earthly journey. Yes, it can be very scary when we don't align, when we don't realize that we're not alone. But when we realize that we are going through this journey with something much, much, much greater than us. There's a Bible verse that says, perfect love casts out fear. And to really just ask for that, to ask for that perfect love that casts out fear, that is more about an alignment with this greater spirit and doing the work that we are here to do. This is Tamika Chambers with Create a Generational Love Cycle. And this series that I am doing on Fridays is Healing from the Inside Out. And it's about acknowledging those thoughts that continue to drive the cycle of pain, that we become more and more aware of our earthly journey and its spiritual and our spiritual unfoldment through these experiences, that we no longer live in fear and hatred and denial and resentment and vengeance and shame and all those other like-minded emotions and feelings about our experiences, but that we open ourselves up to this greater organized chaos that is here to bring out the best in us. I have been I also do it's the seeds we plant, and that's more of a parental children caregiver type podcast where I talk about the seeds that we plant. You know, greater communication with our children, and really, you know, us being the role model of helping them to remember who they are. Our children are here. The children that we take care of, the children that we're guardians over, spiritual guardians over, whether you're a parent or a caregiver in any other realm, that we are here to help our children remember who they are as spiritual beings. And as they remember, we remember. And we just continue to feed that and become better versions of ourselves. So our children are here to help us to fulfill our divine purpose as we are to help them to do the same. I also have a weekly newsletter, just empowering messages to help you remind to be that reminder of who we are, that we do not become our experiences, but that we are here to carry on the spiritual identity that we have, and that these universal truths and laws that I share, these principles that have been so just oh gosh, helping me to stand in the face of storms, helping me to rise above them, helping me to get back up. And things that I've shared throughout my professional and um, personal areas of life that have helped others to accomplish their goals, to help them to fulfill their divine purpose, to see beyond their experiences, and to align their spirit, their personality with this greater spirit. So I've been sharing those, and feel free to sign up. I put my link to my newsletters in my podcast, and feel free to reach out and to share your thoughts on voice. You know, like I said, I know this can be a trigger, but I feel like, you know, it becomes less of a trigger when we open ourselves up to our experiences, when we acknowledge our truths, when we realize that our emotions and our feelings are here to help us, remind us of who we are. As they rise, they are to rise out of us and not stay a part of us. All right, you guys. So I look forward to hearing from your comments. And as always, make this lifetime great, because you still can. Remember, you have a voice, you have a right to use your voice, and you have a right to align yourself with a spirit that knows when, how, and where, and what to say. All right. Talk to you guys soon.